Hi everyone, Mike here from Bikes by Mike with another cycling related video. So I'm back upstairs to talk to you about road tires. I'll give you my review of Vittoria's top of the line road race tire, the Corsa G Plus 2.0 tubeless tire, which I've been using for the past 4 years. Okay, let's get to it. Vittoria, like many other bike tire companies, have a lot of different lines of road bike tires with several models being branded with very similar names. So you have to pay particular attention to the specs on the tire you're buying, or you could inadvertently buy the wrong one. More on that later. Take the Corsa line, for example. You have the Corsa tire, just plain Corsa, which is what I'll be reviewing in this video. But they also have the Corsa Pro, and the Corsa Pro Control, and the Corsa Next, and the Corsa Speed, and the Corsa Control. And that's not even their full road tire offerings. There's much more. Vittoria is certainly not alone. Schwalbe is just as confusing, if not more confusing than Vittoria, as when you get into their mountain bike tires, not only do they have different lines of tires, they have different versions of the same model tire. And they have different options for a rubber compound to choose from. I guess I really shouldn't criticize them for providing riders with a lot of options, which is usually what we want, right? But coming from a guy that is anal about what parts and accessories he buys, I can tell you that when it comes to choosing tires, it can be a confusing exercise to find the right tire for you. So let's look quickly at the specs for the Vittoria Corsa tubeless TLR tire. It retails for $129.99 Canadian. The tubeless tire options come in either 25C or 28C sizes. The tires are constructed with Corspun K, which is Vittoria's proprietary casing, comprised of alternating polycotton and Kevlar threads, weaved at 320 threads per inch, which makes for a very supple tire. The rubber compound is 4C Graphene, which combines 4 separate rubber compounds with their own Graphene 2.0 for improved ride quality and greater puncture resistance. And finally, their 25C tire weighs in at 290 grams. So on paper, this tire should be a competitive, lightweight tire suitable for racing and training. But it's probably not the one you want if you're looking for the longest wearing tire or if you're bashing about in the city. I've put thousands of kilometers on these tires over the years and really do like them. They have that supple road feel that you seem to only get with a cotton casing tire with a high TPI. At 290 grams, they aren't heavy by any stretch and they feel very fast, probably because they roll so nicely. They have excellent grip in all road conditions and are the best all-out performing tire I've tried. As with any lightweight race tire, you give up a bit of longevity and puncture protection over a heavier training-specific or commuter tire. But for a tire that is lively and performs so well, you get more puncture protection than you'd expect for such a light tire. And I'm really impressed with the durability of their poly cotton casing, as well as the Graphene 2.0 puncture protective coating, which I do think makes a difference. Yes, if you roll over a pile of broken glass like I did, you'll likely get a puncture. But if you want that kind of protection, you'll have to look at heavy-duty commuter tires, but then you're into a whole other type of tire. So how do I rate this tire? I give it a score of 9.5 out of 10. Not perfect, but pretty darn close. No tire will ever be perfect because riders will always want a faster, lighter, and more durable tire than what they have. Looking at the independent testing on the Bicycle Rolling Resistance website, it confirms what I feel on the road. The Corsa G Plus 2.0 tires have a low rolling resistance of just 12.8 watts at 100 psi or 6.9 bar. While not as good as their top performing tested tire, which had a ridiculously low rolling resistance of just 6.8 watts, the Vittoria Corsa is far better than the average among the group and blows away their worst performing tires, which give up over 20 watts to rolling resistance. It is also worth noting that there is an inverse relationship between the rolling resistance efficiency of a tire and its puncture resistance, meaning that the most efficient rolling tires are also the ones that are most likely to puncture. Which makes sense because the fastest tires are always the lightest tires with the least amount of material in the casing to provide puncture protection. It's all about finding the balance between weight and durability that you can live with. This pretty much applies to everything on a bike. Like I mentioned, I like the Vittoria Corsa tires so much that I've been using them almost exclusively for the past 4 years. I did try Schwalbe's Pro One tire, but took them off my bike after one ride. While they are similar weight to the Corsas, they felt much heavier while rolling. I can only put it down to their choice of rubber compound having more rolling resistance than the Corsas. I should mention that I wasn't using Schwalbe's most current version of the Pro One, which they market as an improvement over the previous version. I've also tried Vittoria's Rubino line of nylon casing tires, and while very durable, they just don't seem as fast and are not as supple as the Corsas. Okay, now to my embarrassing story about my idiotic mistake. So just before my Oat Route race last year, I swapped out my Corsas for a new fresh pair to make sure the tires were in perfect shape for the race. And that's when things went downhill. I went on a training ride, puncture. Rode the same road a couple weeks later, double puncture. It was obvious I was getting more punctures than previous years, but I chalked it up to bad luck. But then the problems continued during Oat Route. On every stage, I had a significant drop in air pressure of over 40 psi during the course of the day's stage. I was losing air pressure through the sidewalls of the tire, as I could see small bubbles coming out through the rubber all around the tire. Fortunately, it was at the end of the stage, so I didn't DNF. I replaced the tire and had no issues for the remaining 2 stages. Interesting. Remember my earlier comment? So you have to pay particular attention to the specs on the tire you're buying, or you could inadvertently buy the wrong one. With my recent experience with the Corsa tires being so bad, I thought about changing brands, but I didn't want to. The Vittoria Corsas are a great tire. Yeah, they aren't the all-around fastest race tires out there, but they're up there with the best and offer better puncture resistance than most. And for me, they are the only tires I have found that are fast enough to race with, but equally durable even for training rides. So instead of ditching brands, I decided to write to Vittoria to try to get an answer as to why the last batch of tires I purchased were getting so many more punctures than what I had experienced in the past. I wrote to their Global Chief Innovation Officer, as well as their Managing Director of North American Operations. Knowing the tires well, I noticed that the rubber was softer and thinner than the previous Corsas I used. I also noticed a difference in the tread pattern. My previous tires had a linear tread pattern in the center of the tire, while my problematic ones had no tread in the center. I was absolutely convinced that Vittoria had changed something with respect to the composition of the tire, so I specifically posed that question to them. I waited a couple weeks and then received a very polite and explanatory response to my question. This is one of those moments, we've all had them, where you go from being 100% sure you're right to knowing you're 100% wrong. Just like that. This was one of those moments. And by me describing the tread pattern of the tire, they were both able to quickly point out the error I made. My problematic tires were not the Corsas I used in previous years, but rather the Corsa Speeds. Somehow I mistakenly ordered the wrong tires the last time around. And as was correctly pointed out to me, the Corsa Speed tires are intended for groomed time trial use and are not appropriate for general training rides or for an event like Oat Route Pyrenees. Even when comparing the Corsa tires to the TT-specific Corsa Speeds on Vittoria's own website, one can see that the reduced rolling resistance of the Corsa Speeds does come with the penalty of reduced puncture protection. But the Corsa Speed is a fast tire for sure, as is proven by Bicycling Rolling Resistance, having rated it as their second fastest tire ever tested, with a rolling resistance of just 7.5 watts at 100 psi. This is really a case of choosing the right tire for the right conditions, and I did not do that. So that was embarrassing, but kudos to Vittoria for pointing out my mistake in a delicate way that didn't make me feel like a complete idiot. But I know I'm an idiot because I mixed up the tires. Good news, of course, is now I understand why I was getting so many punctures and can now go back to the Vittoria Corsa tires I've tried, tested, and loved over the years. So that's pretty much my review of the Vittoria Corsa G+ 2.0 TLR tires. A confidence-inspiring race tire that I look forward to using at the Oat Route Dolomites race later this summer. But if you're looking to buy this tire, just don't mix it up with the others. Duh. That's all I got for today, folks. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, as it will allow me to produce more content for all of you. See you next time. Happy rolling.